Continuing with section 3.2, 3.3 from the last video, we were talking about temperature and the temperature scales, Fahrenheit, Celsius, and Kelvin. These temperature scales are determined with respect to the melting and the boiling point of water. All right. So on the Celsius scale, the freezing point of water is 0 degrees Celsius and the boiling point is 100 degrees Celsius. So between the 2 points there's 100 degrees. All right. On the Fahrenheit scale, on the other hand, the freezing point of water is 32 and then the boiling point is 212. So there's 180 degrees between freezing and boiling points of water. So here the Kelvin scale doesn't start at 0. It kind of starts just like the Fahrenheit starts at 32. The Kelvin scale actually starts at 273. So the freezing point of water is 273. The boiling point is 373. All right. The Kelvin scale is a positive scale. All right. So when you get down to 0 Kelvin, that's called as absolute 0. That's corresponding to negative 273 degrees Celsius. Okay. There's no degree symbol here, as you can notice. It's just K. And there's no negative temperatures for the Kelvin scale. All right. And 1 Kelvin is same in size unit as the 1 degree Celsius. Okay. Now absolute 0 is where all activity kind of stops, even the vibrational movement in solids. All right. Particles are kind of condensed, they're coming together and everything stops, and that's a temperature that is almost impossible to reach because you have to at this temperature literally all activity, all movement has to stop. So that is that is a very challenging temperature to reach, 0 K. All right, so here among the temperature scales, you're seeing this, a good pictorial that shows the different scales. You're seeing it with respect to, as I said, the freezing point of water, or it's called the melting point as well. So that's 0 degrees centigrade. The equivalent is 273 K, and then 32 degrees Fahrenheit. All right. So from 0 to 100, that's 100 units of difference. And then from 273 to 373 also, that's 100 Kelvin units. Okay, so that's why 100 K is equal to 100 degrees C, and therefore 1 K would be equal to 1 degree C. Now here on the other hand, between 32 and 212, it's 180 degrees. All right, so 100 degrees centigrade is equal to 180 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, which means that 1 degree centigrade is equal to 1.8 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, this is body temperature, 37 degrees, 98.6 on the Fahrenheit scale. Okay. All right, what is the temperature at which water freezes? That would be 0 degrees centigrade. What is the temperature at which water boils? And that would be 373 K. How many Celsius units are between boiling and freezing points of water? That would be 100. To convert between the temperatures, this is what you need to, this is the conversion factor that you need to be using. 1.8 degrees Fahrenheit per degree centigrade. All right, and you can write another conversion factor that is vice versa, 1 degree centigrade over 1.8 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, Now there is also an offset that you need to take into account, because the Fahrenheit scale is starting at 32, not at 0. Okay, so for adjusting that, you have to make sure that when you're converting degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit, you must add the 32. All right. If you're converting Fahrenheit to Celsius, you must first start by subtracting the 32. Okay. So if you're converting Celsius to Fahrenheit, you multiply the Celsius by 1.8 and then add 32. Now you must do the calculations in this order. First do the multiplications of that Celsius temperature by 1.8 and then add 32. Don't add 32 and then do the multiplication. You'll get an error in your result. All right. So it's basically showing you why you're doing this. If you subtract 32 on the left side, you have to subtract 32 on the other side as well. Okay. So in order to convert Fahrenheit to degrees Celsius, you would have to subtract the 32, and then instead of multiplying, you would be dividing it by 1.8. Okay. So you see that once you subtract the 32, you're going to divide by 1.8. And so after subtracting 32, divide by 1.8 and you get the corresponding answer in Celsius. All right. So state what the given quantities are, what is the equation you'll be using, whether it's the equation for Celsius to Fahrenheit or the other one, or Kelvin, and then substitute all the known values and calculate the new temperature. Okay, so a person with hypothermia has a body temperature of 34.8 degrees Celsius. So that's given. And then what is the temperature in degrees Fahrenheit? So what you need to do is convert these degrees Celsius into Fahrenheit. And how would you do that? You would take the 34.8, multiply it first by 1.8, and then add the 32. All right. Okay. Now when you are multiplying this, you're following again the rules of sig fig. Okay. And then when you're adding, again follow the rules of sig fig. Okay. All right. So the multiplying by 1.8 times the 34.8 gives you 62.6, and then when you add the 32, you get 94.6. This is a comparison of temperatures on the different scales of different things. Body temperature, fever conditions, hot oven, water freezing, absolute zero, which is 0K, minus 273 on the Celsius scale, and minus 459 on the Fahrenheit scale. Okay. So some of the important things to remember are this: 98.6, 37, 310 on Kelvin, although Kelvin is really not used for body temperature. Yeah, so those are some of the important temperatures to remember. Okay, on a cold winter day, the temperature is minus 15 degrees Fahrenheit. What is the temperature in degrees Celsius? So just plug it into the formula: minus 15 minus 32. All right. So you're going to follow the rules of adding or adding, subtracting negative numbers. All right. And then you'll divide your result by 1.8. So minus and minus will give you a negative number on the numerator, and then you'll divide it by 1.8. So minus 15 minus 32, you're just simply adding the two, minus 47, and then when you divide by 1.8, you get minus 26 degrees centigrade. That would be answer D. what is the normal body temperature? 37 degrees in kelvins. So all you have to do is take the 37 and 273 to it. Okay, so that should give you B. All right, 310. Okay. Okay, for homework, answer questions 3.7 through 3.14 on page 69, and then questions 3.15 through 3.20 on pages 72 and 73. Right? So that's the end of this video on sections 3.2 and 3.3.